Housing in the D.C. area has been a challenge for years. Home prices are high and vacant commercial buildings sit empty. And finding an affordable place to live can feel impossible. But new developments and projects are in the works. Here to talk about all of that, we have CEO of Real Estate Connection, Brian Coester, back with us. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's jump right in. What is being done to address the D.C.'s housing shortage? I know a lot of people are talking about that right now.
Yeah, so what's interesting about D.C., it's unique in any other city in the world. When you think about development, it's really about redevelopment. There's zoning restrictions that limit that any commercial building or residential building can't be higher than the Washington Monument, so there's nowhere to go up. So now we're talking about redeveloping existing spaces. So we have some examples of that. There's a Ladyburg in Northwest D.C., which is about 19,000 square feet, 220 units. There's the Geneva conversion, which is a commercial conversion of existing office space, which was a couple hundred units. There's the Stacks at Buzzard Place, which is a downtown residential and mixed-use development. And then on the Montgomery County side, they've redeveloped some government office and land space to put in Allium Place, which is a affordable housing rental unit. So all of these are co-participation with government and really designed to address some of the affordable housing issues.
Yeah, and speaking of affordable housing, how are these commercial buildings being converted into housing, and what does that mean for buyers?
So there's two ways that that's happening. One is the federal GSA has published a list of buildings, right? They've updated it a couple times. They've taken it down and put it back on, of buildings that are for sale. So they've indicated through the Trump administration about 50% of the federal buildings are going to be sold off, and that's on the government sector. On the private sector, DC led commercial vacancies. So they're trying to figure out what to do, and then co-participation with the mayor's office, with the Office to Anything program, they're converting a lot of the residential, commercial space into residential space.
Okay, and what about, so can successful projects, you mentioned Allium Place in Montgomery County, can that be a model for affordable housing in the future in the DMV?
Yeah, so there's really no affordable housing without government participation, right? Because ultimately the permits, the planning, one of my buddies, David Lipton, he's a builder, he's a developer. It took him 4 years to get his permits approved to build his own house, and he's building it in 4 months. That example is a great example of if the government let him do it right away, he'd have had the house done in 6 months. So these types of situations are really problematic in the sense of with government participation, you can get things done very quickly. So examples like Allium Place, examples of the federal buildings are a model for the future when it comes to affordable housing.
And lastly, so DC leads the nation in commercial to residential, right? Do you think that this can be a trend nationwide?
Yeah, so it's interesting you say, so DC has about 7,500 units right now that are converting from commercial to residential, which does lead the nation. And that is from the mayor's Office Anything program, right, in the sense of they're clearing the way. So with participation from the government, it is a way to significantly reduce housing in the sense that with zoning approval, with board approval, with co-participation, you can fast track something from multiple years to just a few months, because it doesn't really take that long to build. It just takes long to get the permits done.
All right, Brian Coester, thank you so much. We always have so much to talk about, always coming in with great information, and thank you for being here.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, we'll have more news, weather, traffic after the break.